One of the things we like to do at Mississippi State when we have the opportunity is to showcase some of the behind-the-scenes people who keep things going. And in this case, we've got people who very literally keep MSU's athletes running. Mary McClendon, Associate AD for Sports Medicine and Athletic Performance, I believe. Is that the right title?
That's right.
Ryan Dotson, trainer for men's golf and men's basketball. These are the people who take care of MSU's athletes on a day-to-day basis, training, rehab, basically making sure that they can get on their courts and fields and be ready to go. In the spirit of Christmas, I thought that while you don't have many injuries to take care of right now, we could find some new ones to diagnose.
Okay.
So what we are going to do is watch this movie of two men who have gone through a series of injuries and break them down. This is an incredibly non-serious event, so I hope you approach it in that manner.
All right.
So just as we go through this, like you do for, you see these guys on NFL, ESPN, who break down the injuries as they happen. Just tell me what you've seen, what you think, and maybe what you would do if you were their trainer in this position, how you would diagnose the injuries. So with that, let's get started. I'm not sure exactly the strength of that gun. I feel like that would leave a pretty solid welt.
Definitely dealing with at least a contusion. Any kind of hit to the head, you can talk about concussions since we talk about those all the time. So yeah.
Is that a concussion possibility right there?
It could be, you never know. Any hit to the head, you always kind of have to think about that's a possibility.
You gotta be careful of those.
Yeah.
And science has come a long way in diagnosing and treating those. All right, now this one is the first real tough one. Iron to the face.
Yeah.
That is hard.
You always hate to see those, man.
That's gotta be a concussion, right?
God.
Mm-hmm. We only see those every few years, Ryan, but I mean, that one can be pretty tough on him.
You can see he's got some minimal burns to the face here, but I think that's the least of his concern at this point. All right, let's keep going here. See, that's what you're talking about. He was a little dazed.
Yes.
That might be a concussed situation. Okay, here we go. Hot doorknob. And his reaction to this is what concerns me.
God, I hate these, man, for plenty of reasons anyway. You're always worried about the degree of the burn, but then also, how much tissue damage is actually happening in the hand. It's like, with this situation, it's going to take time for him to heal. So with someone like this, man, he probably wants to stick more to petty crimes like simple pickpocketing and things like that before he actually goes back to trying the houses anyway, having to climb in the windows or other high up entryways.
Putting a lot of strain.
It's going to take some time for that hand to get back right, so.
All right, now see, and his reaction is what I'm concerned with here too. When he sticks it in the snow, is that not going to cause some blistering, more so than it already would? It
could. You probably wouldn't do snow. You'd probably want to do ice, or water instead, just to kind of cool the area down, because that would be a pretty dramatic change for him. But, Ryan's right. I mean, he's going to have to think kind of long term. Is this his dominant hand or non-dominant? If it's dominant hand for pickpocketing, for picking locks, this could be a real issue for him, as this heals up.
But I do give him credit for early care.
Definitely, definitely. He used the resources that were around, so he used what was available, so that's good.
So big ups to him on that.
That's it. All right, now from here, this is one you probably do see a lot, certainly with athletes. Burns are going to be tough. This one in particular, losing an entire head of hair and a toboggan, that's unfortunate. I mean, that's, your equipment managers are involved at that point. That you're having to replace the headgear.
Well, we have been using more pyrotechnics at the game lately, so we have been seeing a few of these with some of the athletes.
All right, now that really has to compound the issues he had with that foot already.
On the bad foot. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was impressive he was still going after the puncture wound, and I mean, he's holding up pretty well and still participating.
You got to at least be experiencing some pretty significant soreness.
You have to at this point.
Yeah. Oh, and the next day is going to be bad. They're going to be out of business and out of commission for a little while after this.
Yeah, you don't want to have back-to-back robberies if you can handle it. You take days off. It's important to rehabilitate and rest.
Oh yeah.
All right, so this one, high speed, slam into the side of a brick wall. Is that as bad as it looks? I almost feel like maybe it isn't.
Well, it's probably better that they took it kind of full force on the body, so there's probably some bruising and just some shock there, but.
I feel like it spreads out the impact a little bit.
Exactly.
But then look how they are as they land. They sit there for a while, just like she said, in shock and kind of dazed. So maybe there was an actual significant head injury to it as well. You just can never tell.
Yeah.
Depending on how fast they're getting up and how quickly they're responding to the situation.
And you think about second impact with concussions too, that sometimes you get that initial hit and it's really the second one coming pretty quick on its heels that really gives you some issues.
All right, so we'll stop here. That was the end of, we'll call it game one for them.
Okay.
Before they go into game two, How are you treating this? What are your initial thoughts on the severity of the injuries they've sustained thus far?
Well, I feel like we have a lot of athletes who are go-getters who want to be out there regardless of what they're taking, whatever they can endure, and these two are enduring a lot of issues. So I respect them, number one, on their stick-to-itiveness when it comes to these type of injuries. But at the same time, if I was their athletic trainer, after a couple of days, I think we're taking them out and evaluating them just to see exactly how they are, evaluate their presentation as far as head injuries, back injuries, anything that they sustain, and see is it safe for them to continue to participate in the activities that they're doing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Ryan's got it right. We've got certain protocols we have to follow, and while they want to stay out there and want to be out there and they have to make a living on their burglary skills, I mean, we got to make sure that they're still doing it in a safe way.
Yeah,
That's our job.
Now, as we go from game 1 to game 2, this is very much like the transition from non-conference play to SEC play. That's when things really get serious. And as you're going to see right from the start here, it's pretty tough.
Is this Home Alone 1 or 2 we just watched?
We just watched Home Alone 1.
Okay.
And this is number 2 coming
So you're
up
saying
right
2
here.
is more conference play?
That is sort of my
don't
thought
know.
in terms of the level of competition here.
Okay.
All right, here we go. From here. Yep, obviously, and that's a tough fall if it crushed the top of a car.
That is pretty tough. Yeah.
High impact.
But it is there to brace the fall a little bit, so I
It
suppose that's
does.
better than just straight up concrete.
There is some compression there, so it's not just straight concrete with no give to it. They were doing kind of a nice balance with the balance board back there. We do have to test some balance with concussions, so there was a component of that in there too.
There you go. So they may be okay at this point.
Yeah, might be.
All right, let's go from here and see what happens. All right, this one.
That's definitely a concussion right there.
Yeah.
That's a brick to the head
That too.
from a very high place.
Yep.
And that is
Geez, and that's the problem right
brick
there.
number
You
2.
worry about second impact syndrome
Exactly.
when it comes to that. Oh, I guess third impact syndrome.
Yeah,
when it
you don't
comes
want
to
those coming
that.
back to back to back. It really just compounds it. Yeah, and then again, I'm really surprised we don't have like any lacerations to the face, any bleeding like that. I mean, there can be some multiple injuries going on at the same time. It doesn't just have to be an isolated concussion.
I guess he's taking the broad side of the brick on each one. I mean, I'm going to be honest. At this point, I would think like death is a concern.
Yeah,
Right.
there's-
Yeah,
Like this is Home Alone. Like it could be X-Men the way they're surviving some of these things.
it could be. Yeah, I mean, these are some tough guys. I mean, they've been through a lot already.
Obviously, they have great trainers.
Oh, obviously.
Is that brick number 5?
That's just unlucky.
Yeah, that's tough.
You would hope he would just roll out of the way at that
For
point.
real.
The number of times they fall. Okay, this is a nail gun to the buttocks, I believe.
Oh,
That's
okay.
to puncture in the rear area.
Yeah.
Haven't dealt with that, but I've got to imagine it's pretty uncomfortable.
Ooh,
Is
yeah.
that a staple gun?
Oh, that's right in the face.
Looks like nail gun. Yeah. Oh, definite
Now,
infection.
it missed the eye, so that's good.
That's definitely good. I mean, that would have been a much harder injury to treat. At least facial and head injuries, I mean, there's such a great blood supply for your brain. They do tend to heal up pretty quickly, but that's still going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a rough one.
Ooh, yeah, right to the nose.
That's
Yeah.
some acupuncture, but like bad.
Yeah.
Not what you want to see.
Ooh. And then he kind of falls on that area, probably pushes it in a little bit more. Ew.
All right, so that's a solid 10-foot fall. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about. You go up for a dunk, but somebody's underneath you and knocks your feet out, and you fall on your back.
Yep.
Yeah, especially up there where the ribs connecting to the actual spine like that. You always worry about some kind of rib fracture and rib contusion in that area, or
Oh,
even
definitely.
dislocation.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, at this point, are you even allowing these people to still go on?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty tough, but I think at some point you're going to have to say, this might be time for you to call it quits.
If there were a medical professional in the area, I think this is when it's over.
I think so.
But these two
Yeah.
fighters.
They
Top
are.
notch, man.
They are. They're
Let's
old
see where they go
school.
from here.
Oh boy.
All right, so electrocution. Not something I'm familiar with. How do you kind of diagnose that? How do you treat it? What are you taking away from that?
One of the big things for us, that's probably an EMS call right there once
Oh,
you hit
absolutely.
electrocution. It's just
You
making
don't
sure
really
the
mess with
scene
it.
is safe, which this whole scene does not seem safe, and really just clearing out of the area and getting the electricity turned off.
Yeah, again, where are their facilities people to
Right,
take care of these issues?
right.
This is bad. This is all bad.
All right, now this is the second time he's caught his head on fire. Is there any reason to think that he is more prone, that his head is more flammable than others?
Oh, good question. What do you think,
That's a
Ryan?
tough one. I mean, honestly, I'm glad he's wearing a hat because, some of our guys, stuff they put in their hair, all the activator and stuff like that, if they got caught on fire like that in the head, it's going everywhere.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's so, I mean, if I dealt with it, it would be a problem.
So this right here,
to a hit?
hey, impressive work.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
despite the
believe-
hits to the head and the hits to the back, that's an impressive handstand into
Wasn't
that
it, though?
toilet. Oh, yeah.
Clearly does
You-
some tricep
You talk
work.
about adrenaline rushing like that at one point and being able to do just superhuman things. I mean, seeing a guy be able to lift a car up, off someone through adrenaline.
Right.
So his ability to do that might just be off that.
Right.
Fantastic
Still,
point.
that was impressive.
Well, and they talk about one of Jordan's best games in basketball was when he was 6. So, I mean, a lot
flu
of times
game,
people
yeah.
really kind of rise to the occasion.
This is
there.
his flu game right here.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the basket is full of gasoline.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
That seems problematic right there. And again, a possible death scenario.
could be, a lot of these, they've been able to shake them off. That could be a possible death right
Yeah,
there.
but I don't put it past these guys, though.
Yeah,
They make it through a lot of things.
they've surprised us in the past.
They're tough cookies.
It is, because he means well. He's trying hard. And that's the thing. You ask your athletes to give you all you got. This guy's giving all that he has to his craft right now.
You hate
He
to tell
just
somebody,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
he's getting hit in the head time
Right.
after time. And so, just for emotional, I feel for the guy. All he's trying to do is his job.
Yeah.
That's it. And this just keeps happening to him. So to take it out of that situation, declare him actually ineligible to be out here and burglarize, that's tough, man.
You hate
Hopefully
to
they've
kill
got a
dream?
strong union. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
I mean,
hate to
because you
kill
need
the
some
dream
insurance.
for him, though. I mean, this is probably something that he's worked for a long time, and to finally say, well, this is probably the end for you. We need to think about the next step. I mean, that's hard.
No question.
Yeah.
And, ooh, insult to injury. Yep.
Ugh.
Hit him
That one's
somewhere,
tough.
right?
We
Yeah.
don't even know where that one hit. I mean, ooh,
Does it matter at this point? I feel like
it
it's
may
all.
not. Yeah.
All right, now here we go. I think we've all run into some quickly moving bookcases in our life.
No question.
And you gotta, it's a tough situation to avoid injury. Unfortunately, these two are not prepared.
I just don't read.
Oh.
Stay away from him.
I thought it was like a toolkit. I thought it was like
I don't know what that was.
Sears Craftsman there or something.
Equally dangerous.
Oof, heavy.
But again, you think the two of them together kind of spreads out some of the impact.
Hopefully it does absorb a little bit, and it's full body.
All right, so that is the end of their adventures, and
Oh,
Ah.
they've also got some birds. Yeah, that's less
That's just
injury and more
scary.
of an infection
Yeah.
concern.
yeah.
Spreading disease.
Well, and mental health has been a big talking point recently too, and a big focus too. And I mean, that's pretty traumatizing, just
Yeah.
even mentally without the injuries.
All right, so at this point, having watched all of this, how many concussions do these guys have each? Like a 9 or 10? What are the big issues you're concerned with by the end of these two games for them?
Oh man, at this point, I think the number one thing would be concussions. It's that repetitive trauma to the head, to the neck. You just never know, man. And once again, I appreciate these guys' effort, and that's all you can say. But there's a time when you have to call it quits, because that next one might be your last one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah, there's good hustle. You got to be looking at the spine too, as they move and they get a little bit older. And we saw that progression from, the first one to the second. You got to watch out for those things. They still have to be able to earn a living somehow. And, if this isn't it, and we've kind of had to tell them to kill the dream on this one and move on, we still need to think about what they're going to be able to do with, with some chronic injuries that they're dealing with.
Well, that's why you make sure you stay in school, get your degree, so that if
Yep.
you can't continue in your career of choice,
Absolutely.
you've got some backup options. All right.
Absolutely.
Ryan, Mary, thank you so much for hanging out.
Oh, no problem.
Happy
Yes.
holidays to you.
You too.
I've enjoyed this. I think it's been very educational for our friends Harry and Marv as well.
Yes, good. Good.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having
Thanks for
me.
hanging out.